So let me paint you a picture of the current situation of our country, Kenya. We are a country that is in severe debt. We are a country with very poor leadership. We are a country who has been ravaged by coronavirus, and we are a country that is politically charged. So essentially, if this was a graph of our country, and this is where we were during Kibaki's time, we have been going down due to poor leadership. Coronavirus has made us go down because those of you who are aware, the GDP of our country in 2020 was 1%, and the GDP of our country in 2019 was 5%. This is the position we are in during Corona. This is how BBI will take us. This is how the election will take us. If we are smart enough to elect leaders with a vision, then we will have time to recover and move up. However, because we are Kenyans and we do not make the best voting decisions, we will come from here and experience a new turn of poor leadership, meaning our economy, which is here, will continue to decline, and you can no longer see my hand right now, yeah? So please, Kenyans, brace yourself for tough times. Right now, majority of the people have either lost their jobs and their sources of income, or if you still have a job, your income has been slashed. Those whose incomes have not been slashed are the lucky few. So, once again, I repeat, prepare for tough economic times because they are coming. Sure as day, we are going to have some very tough economic times as a country. So how do we brace for tough economic times? We need to hold our government accountable for how they spend our tax monies. Essentially, I'm going to use the middle class people, yeah? So let's say you are earning 200,000. Let's say you're earning 200,000, yeah? You're paying 30% tax, which is around 60,000. I'm saying around because I know there's personal relief, but let's say in the neighborhood of 60,000, yeah? So every year, your tax is over 700,000, yeah? 700,000 shillings. That's the ballpark figure of how much tax you're remitting to the authorities. You need to be asking these people why you have to go to private hospital because public hospitals are despicable. You need to be asking our government why they are allocating money to BBI and children in public schools do not have classes in the middle of a pandemic. You need to be holding the government accountable why ushago kwenu hakuna maji. Why is that? This is what our government should be doing for us. Our government should be making our lives as citizens better. You should be asking the government why anytime we receive money for relief, there are so many scandals. Kuna NYS, B, C, D, kuna sijui COVID billionaires, people are profiting. Why are there loopholes in our government such that the money that we receive is not making our lives as citizens better, yeah? Upper middle class people and lower, essentially, middle class people are part of the problem in our country because you're complacent. You're complacent because when you get sick, unaenda unalipa insurance. When you have money to just live your next life, you do not feel affected by these problems, yeah? But in reality, you are one sickness away from poverty. Let's talk about maybe an upper middle class family where maybe the husband is earning 1 million shillings and the wife is earning 500,000. The 1 million shillings income looks like 300,000 in tax every month. So in 12 months, your tax is in the ballpark of 3.4 million to 3.6 million, yeah? For the madam who is earning 500,000, you pay 150,000 in taxes every month. Every freaking month. So at the end of the year, you have paid 1.8 million. So as a family, you are contributing around 5 million of tax to the government. Why shouldn't your tax monies work for you as a citizen? You know, I mean, yes, you have the good insurance, you can go to Aga Khan, you can even travel for treatment, but why shouldn't your government work for you? We are in a country where these are the few people, less than 1% of us are high income earners, yeah? half the country lives in abject poverty. So essentially, most people are more likely to die because of coronavirus because they do not have access to the facilities that the rich have, yeah? So ask yourself as a citizen, why are these people coming and telling you about BBI, BBZ, BBK, instead of telling you that we have equipped your hospitals with ventilators? We are making sure that the children in classrooms are social distanced, yeah? We are making sure that when you go to the hospital, you receive the best treatment in a public hospital, yeah? Why are we not holding our government accountable? That's a question that you need to ask yourself, yeah? Another way that you can brace for these tough economic times as Kenyans is making better leadership decisions. It saddens me greatly. People who are the front runners in the next election were front and center in the 2013 post-election violence. And history repeats itself. People do not change. So what do you think will happen when they do not agree with how the next elections will look like, yeah? What kind of chaos do you think will our country be plunged into? And why do we keep giving these same people room to tell us the same nonsense that they have been telling us, yeah? We need to ask ourselves that question. Why are we not electing leaders who will work for us as a people? Why are we not making better leadership decisions, yeah? We need to ask ourselves these questions. But since us as Kenyans, majority of us will make the same poor decisions and go through the same cycle and keep asking God why, then personally the few things that you can do so one, start an emergency fund. What is an emergency fund? An emergency fund is money you keep for emergencies. Money you keep for times when you will not be having income. Money you will keep such that your family, you yourself, however your situation is set up, will be okay for a while after your source of income gets crippled. This is good for people who are employed, but also good for people who are in business. 2, you need to audit your expenses. How do you do this? Track every single shilling you spend in a month and ask yourself how vital that expense was. Every single shilling, does not matter how small it is, does not matter how big it is, track it, and at the end of the month look at it and ask yourself if it was really important to spend that money. Another thing is reduce your spending. Reduce how much money you're spending. This can be by cutting out the number of times you go out every month from 4 to 2 or 4 to 1, however your situation is set up, that is you to decide. This can be by making different financial decisions, yeah? Buying a cheaper car, avoid using your car and use public transport or use Uber. However your financial situation is set up, avoid spending your money, yeah? Another thing that you can do to brace for these tough economic times is try as much as you can to pay the debt that you have. Why? Right now, you have an income source, so you can afford to pay the debt that you have. But in times that you will not have an income source, the debt that you have will be crippling you. Yeah? So try as much as possible to clear the debt that you have. Also, do not take debt that is not necessary. Only take necessary debt. Necessary is very relative, so that is up to you to decide, yeah? Another thing that you need to do is to stop spending money that you do not have. This can be in forms of fulizing or taking a advance to go to Mombasa or Naivasha, or using your credit card just because it is money that you will have to pay. So that is another helpful tip. Another thing that you need to do is save your money. Save your money and invest your savings. I insist on the invest your savings part because a lot of us underestimate the time value of money. Let's say in 2005, Jane had 500,000, Sharon had 500,000. Jane put the 500,000 in her bank, whatever bank it is. Let's say in Mshwari Bank. Sharon took the 500,000 and bought a plot of land on bypass. Yeah, right now Sharon's land is worth probably upwards of 10 million, and Jen's money is 500,000 minus the bank charges and adjusted to inflation. What do I mean by this? 100 bob 3 years ago is not 100 bob today. Why? Because with 100 bob you could have bought 2 breads, and right now bread is 55, so with 100 bob you cannot buy the same amount of bread. Also with 100 bob, that when I was in campus actually, which was in from 2015, yeah, 100 bob is how much bus fare would be from Juja to Nairobi and Nairobi to Juja. Right now from Nairobi to Juja, it's, I think, I don't know how much. I'm going to assume 70 or 80 bob, but I am not sure, so please don't attack me for not having the facts. So the reason I keep looking down is because I have a few things written down. So I think the last tip I'd give you is, if you can, that is, if this is within your reach, if this is within your scope, your area, earn your money in dollars if you can. I keep repeating, if you can. The usijipe pressure if you can't. Yeah, why? The people who are celebrating right now are the people whose money has been coming in dollars. So let's say you are earning $100 in 2019, the exchange rate was 101, and right now the exchange rate, I think at the end of 2020 was 109, and I think recently it's at 111. So those are the people who are celebrating because they have more Kenyan shillings to spend. So I think that's something to look at. If you have the freelancing skills that you can leverage for a few dollars here and there. If you have a brand that you can market and sell the services in dollars, that would be a helpful tip for you. Yeah. Also, another thing that I've realized is when you're going to, let's say, your bank to sell your dollars for shillings, make sure you negotiate. So today I think I visited my bank and I saw that they are trading at 106, and I think the markets at yesterday's close was 109, 110, 111. I am not quite sure, but it was up there. So essentially, let me tell you something funny. So they're selling, they're buying your dollars at 106 and selling at 111. So essentially, if you go to the bank with $10, they will buy your $10 at 106, and then you change your mind, and then you're like, please give me my $10 back. They will sell your $10 to you at 111. So they will make 5 shillings from every dollar, so that is 50. So the more zeros you add, the more money they are making from you. So negotiate with your bank. I don't think there's anything in this country that you cannot negotiate for, especially for dollars. So negotiate, and if they do not allow, please go and find forexes that will give you better rates. Of course they will have to make money, and let them not make all that money from you, especially in these crippling times. Yeah, kwa hivyo karada manze, karada sawa sawa. So thank you so much for listening to my video. Please like, subscribe, leave a nice comment. Please don't leave bad comments, so leave nice comments only. Thank you so much for your time.